Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Metaworld News. Your news from immersive spaces, social virtual worlds, etc., and everything we're doing today is for the week ending, the 4th of June of 2017. Yes, we're in month number 6 already. Seems like all that snowy New Year is just yesterday, but never mind, never mind. It's always snowy in a virtual world somewhere, so maybe that's why. Um, I'm Mal Burns. You can follow me at Malburns, at twitter.com/Malburns. That's Malburns, or one word. Where there are various posts and things to do with virtual worlds, technology, and social virtual worlds themselves. And the first news I'm going to read out comes from that very feed. Starting a week ago, a website called Read Write had a post about eye tracking in virtual reality and augmented reality. Editorial piece really called The Promise and the Perils. Written by somebody called Yuval Boga, of whom I know nothing, but interesting article you might want to check out if you're interested in eye tracking and stuff. Business Insider, another website, has a piece on this is the VR experience the British Army is using as a recruitment tool. Yes, the British Army over here are actually using VR as a method of recruitment, and it's more a case of traditional sort of recruitment sort of activities, but then putting possible recruits into proper hardware VR training technology to see if it suits them. And apparently they've seen a 66% increase in recruitment applications as a result of the VR experience that goes with it. So go figure.
Wow.
Yes, that's quite good, isn't it? Or bad, or neutral, as the case may be.
Well, it's effective.
Yeah, it obviously is.
Yeah.
But, you can imagine people that want to drive tanks or fly aircraft and things would obviously realize that a lot of that stuff now is actually done through virtual interfaces. So, yeah. Upload VR, again, 6 days ago, Upload VR, or oneword.com. Touching the future, the importance of the physical realm in virtual reality. And, a general interesting read here. I'm not really going to summarize it, it's too complicated, but, they're looking at VR as it's been seen, at the Tribeca Film Festival or immersive and stuff like that. The general sort of field of interest they call VR, and the balance to which you need to balance, quite literally, the physical realm with virtual reality itself. View issue. Right, what is that? Oh, yes, this is ejournal.urockcliffe.com. So that's ejournal, or one word, dot. And then urockcliffe is urockcliffe.com. And when you go to that link, it actually loads you can go direct from my Twitter feed, obviously, but it loads you a PDF file, basically, which is some interesting information from Rockcliffe University, who are based in Second Life and on the Avacon grid in OpenSim. And speaking of which, I will say no more, because if you're around in about 50 minutes time on this channel, we will be bringing you this week's Inworld review, and one of our guests is Delang. Sorry, I got an alert here on my machine that came resounding through my ears. Right. Yes, Kevin Feenan, otherwise known as Fern Corrimal, will be on that show with us with a lot of interesting news, in fact. Right. Uploadvr.com. 5 days ago now, Speak Memory. What are the implications of conversational VR? Well, obviously we're getting into social worlds territory with this article, because it's all about conversation, communication, and I guess presence with other people. They are looking at it in a slightly wider field. I mean, there's been a lot of coverage this week in particular of odd sort of multiplayer kind of VR things, but not sort of social worlds we would get on our screen, fully interactive, helmet in contained places, and looking at the practicalities. For example, most of the experiences are obviously out of the home, because you really don't have a room big enough to wander around fighting with your friends. So things like VR arcades and stuff are sort of places you would go to enjoy these experiences. Not only provide you with a helmet, but they've also got they're going to provide you with a rather unlimited amount of foot room, so you can wander around, running and jumping and doing all the things you want to do without actually bumping into a wall and breaking your nose or something. So yes. The future is wild. Right, 4 days ago, virtualrealitypop.com. That's virtual reality in words, and then pop as in pop music, but it's all one word, virtualrealitypop.com. Virtual reality is unlike any other medium that designers have had to work for. Basically, it's called realism, expectations, and the fidelity contract in VR design. If you do design for virtual worlds or VR in the more general sense, or are planning to, then some interesting thoughts for you there in particular. VRScout.com 3 days ago, that would be Thursday, I guess, about the Week in VR review. This is Malia Probst's weekly podcast roundup of the week in the general VR sphere, particularly hardware. And it's a podcast you'll get on that page, but if you go to that particular page, you'll get a written sort of summary and everything else that goes with it. Right. Virtualreality-news.net. The versatility of VR. 4 key cases for showing its potential. 4 key cases showing its potential. Good examples. Nothing particularly new, I have to admit, but good examples. And then the people who read my feed, they're always keen to see examples. Uploadvr.com, yet again. 3 days ago, an impressive social VR demo combines mouth and eye tracking. This is a demo, I hasten to add. There's not suddenly a social VR world out there which has mouth and eye tracking, although arguably such things are possible in high fidelity. It's basically a demo showing new initiatives, multiple initiatives across the VR industry, and it's looking at how mouth and eye tracking are shaping up, particularly from a social world point of view. Virtualworldsociety.org. Yes, indeed. Virtual World Society. Virtual World Society is the headline. That's very helpful, isn't it? Join us. I think, yes. They also appear on the Voices of VR podcast. But I just found the link to this, and I thought it deserved to be included in the feed for people who might be interested. Right. Oh, now we're getting close to home. 19 hours ago. Uploadvr.com. Say perfect VR input needs precise control and realistic feedback, etc., etc. And they are actually introducing something called Hapto, HPTO, as in haptic, I guess. Hapto is a bizarre VR controller with haptic feedback. And there's a rather nifty sort of picture here. It's obviously a painting or software painted or something. Mixture of guys, in headsets with their handouts, and extremely seductive woman in front of them. Except the woman's a cartoon. The woman happens to be a cartoon, so it's not quite as convincing as it should be, but it looks cute. Right, 3D mapping makes cities look like ultimate Sims fantasy. This is actually a post at Inverse, INVERSE. And this doesn't actually have anything to do with the kind of virtual worlds we call mirror worlds as such, But it is about somebody who's taking sort of 3D mapping very seriously, somewhere in the realm between Google Earth and Street View and stuff like that. The examples on display just show you how accurate a whole city model of a real city can actually be. Basically, you take the maps, you extrapolate, you find out the building details, and you basically create a 3D version of the Earth. Although, as far as I know, it's not something you can walk around in. It is simply something you can camera around in and explore. But the third dimension certainly adds a lot to your standard Google Maps, so to speak. And that's it for the greater sort of metaverse interest kind of feeds. We do have another stream at Twitter, which is twitter.com/Metaworld News, as in the title of our program here. And there are a few other things that sort of get posted there. Mostly videos this week, I have to say. Videos from OpenSim and things like last week's edition of our news and stuff like that. So I'm not going to highlight all those. You can actually find them on the feed. I will just mention a couple of things. In our Repay's site, modemworld.me, that's modem as in the old-fashioned noisy machines.
That was good.
Radagast, a new website and update. Radagast is a viewer for both Second Life and OpenSim type worlds, and is hypergrid enabled, of course, which is a third-party viewing client, but it's principally designed as a text client, so it's very lightweight, and you can run and log in from a desktop. Very good, I have to add, Radagast, for organizing inventory and looking at scripts and doing rather manually tedious tasks where you don't need the interface open. And also, of course, the new Radagast, the original author has passed away, sadly, some time ago, and it's now been taken over by Cinders, somebody she's called Cinders in Second Life. Radagast actually now has active Inworld voice, and it also has a sort of updatable snapshot feature that simulates being in world. So although it's a lightweight client, it's developing to bring you as rich experience as possible without being a fully fledged immersive world client. And hgsafari.blogspot.com, Thursday Ember's weekly summary of what went on the Hypergrid Safari, Safari Double Parks it's called. And Thursday will also be joining us within the hour on the Inworld Review, so look forward to that. And also posted yesterday, although it took place on Friday evening, it was 2 p.m. Pacific time. There was a special edition of the weekly sort of series broadcast from High Fidelity, and it was basically called The Behavioral Science of High Fidelity, and it's about an hour long. It features the avatars of Jessica Outlaw, who's a VR behavioral scientist, and Beth Duckles, who has a PhD in sociology, and they are talking about behavioral science and things, particularly in the virtual world of High Fidelity. And they had a guinea pig in tow named Philip Rosedale too. I think some people might have heard of him. Right. Okay. And yeah, that's it, except for my posts here. Okay, and actually there's nothing particularly different in Google Plus than there was here. Okay, so that's about it for the actual news, and I'm going to hand over to my colleague James Atloud here for a little bit of news about OpenSim and hypergrid development. So over to you, James.
Yeah, thank you, Mel. I back from traveling for a little while, and I was not able to attend the Tuesday meeting of the OpenSim developers. This is technically office hours where the developers are present for anybody to join in at Wright Plaza on OS Grid and talk with the developers and ask questions. The meeting started out, I did review the notes, and the meeting started out really discussing some technical aspects about grid management and grid hosting, particularly on Linux. But then the bulk of the notes really got into a discussion about how the IMA is planning to structure its testing group. So there's a work group that's wants to offer support to developers in doing testing, and there's a little bit of questioning about, well, how is this determined, and are the results shared? And of course, the answer is that the IMA is going to be completely open in terms of its results and its planning. So that's that ended up being a very good conversation. And I felt like the amount of optimism about support for the developers from the IMA is growing and becoming I think becoming a little more confident in the group. So a very nice meeting again.
Okay, great. I actually myself did attend. I'm what their advisory committee or something. I may meet on Friday, and yes, I did get that impression. I know, for example, there was some talk about developing various scripts that will be used as the testing scripts, and they'll use the same scripts on the different platforms to compare them and stuff like that. Far too technical, I'm sure, for most of our listeners, but certainly a lot of work going on that side of things. Yeah. Also, quite a lot of movement on the idea of worlds on the web. And once again, if you are around in about half an hour, or 45 minutes, in fact, we have Dieter Hain on Inworld Review, and we will be looking at an already online virtual world called Cyber Lounge that you can Selby Evans of Nonprofit Commons and various things is using it for a daily meet, and it's very effective. It's basically OpenSim on the web. It's not actually an instance of OpenSim as we know it, but you could, for example, take a region in OpenSim and upload it into a web version, and then have your own duplicate meeting place on the web that mimics what you've got in OpenSim. And that's a good step in the direction of maybe one day the one that's a mimic and the real one will interoperate, and who knows. But we'll be talking about that later on Inworld Review. So do join us for that. We go live at noon Pacific time today, which is Sunday the 4th, sorry, of course. And basically it's about half an hour's time from now. So as we close this show, this news bulletin for this week, you've got about 30 minutes to go or something before we're back on the same stream. So I think that's it for this week, isn't it? News-wise, James? Yeah. Nothing else?
I agree. Yep.
Okay, so short and sweet, that's the way we like it. We don't want to keep you hanging around for 3 hours on this particular bulletin, though I can't guarantee anything for Inworld Review, mind you. But we'll be back same time, same place with next week's news next week, a week from now, in other words. And with that, have a good week, everybody, and we'll be back then. Bye-bye.